this is gonna be my final Fossil Cup video, and finally the madness is ending. So this is gonna be another very good team that you can try out. Basically this is double electric. We're gonna have Thunderfang version of Steelix alongside Lantern, and of course in between we're gonna fit in there Poliwrath, which is a pretty great generalist for the meta of Fossil Cup. So over here you can see that we finish off even a Braxis out of existence because of how good Shadow Dynamic Punch can be. Now the return into the battle with Ferrothorn, which is most probably the worst matchup that you can have with this entire line, because it resists pretty much anything that we throw with our Steelix. Only Crunch can hurt it at this point, but if you have something like an Earthquake, feel free to use it. However, this opponent blocks my Crunch and things get even trickier over here. Anyways, the battle is definitely not over yet, because now we got access on Psychic Fangs to debuff this Pokemon. I'm telling you, Thunderfang Steelix is a pretty nice surprise that a lot of trainers are not gonna expect. However, I was having a ton of Ferrothorns up against me for some reason, and now we're just gonna keep going at it with our Lantern. Lantern is gonna face now Jellicent, which is an arguably bad switch from my opponent. Perhaps they want to preserve some HP and clear the debuffs from that Ferrothorn. They get on the Bubble Beam. Why did they do that? Perhaps they still know that a whole Bubble Beam will be enough to debuff me down, but at the same time we can survive the Shadow Ball, able to switch out on our Steelix to try and catch the move. So many bad plays happening on the first battle, and now we're having Thunderbolt to finish off Ferrothorn before they get on the fourth bullet seed, and that was absolutely awesome. Are you kidding me? That was a garbage battle to begin of the video, but it was super entertaining. That's why I chose it. Into the next one now with a Jellicent up in front. Obviously a very good lead for us, but later on those Shadow Balls can still hurt us down. This Registeel reached to a very fast charge attack, and I was like, this has to be a flash cannon, but what if I miscounted? So yeah, I end up blocking the flash cannon, and yeah, that's gonna be all. Anyways, now with the Poliwrath we managed to go for a double Ice Wind now over that Jellicent after we get hit by that Focus Blast, and they end up charging up a ton of energy on their Jellicent with the resisted bubbles. At the very end they have a Melmetal, which is a very unusual Pokemon, but to be fair, it can still make kinda sense for the meta, because it is a steel type that has access on superpower to threat that Ferrothorn and also my Steelix. So this is not looking that great, but seeing that it does about 50% on the first try, I can only imagine that the second cannot knock me out due to the debuffs, and I am able to get here on that amazing Psychic Fangs before we go down. Able to get the shield, absolutely awesome, and I'm pretty sure that as long as we can shield that Shadow Ball, we're gonna be on a very good spot at completely farming down that Jellicent. And you can see here that we have a lot of HP, so that this Shadow Ball can never be enough to knock us out. Into the next game now with the Ferrothorn up in front. This is the terrible lead that I was talking about. What you want to do here is to always switch out on your Poliwrath and keep at least one shield for the very end game with your Steelix. It is gonna be kind of an even scenario if you ask me. So here comes now Dynamic Punch on their own Poliwrath. They were expecting this, and I'm just gonna try to predict the Ice Wind so that I can get to another Dynamic. However, they know that Ice Wind is not gonna knock us out, so instead they reach to their own Dynamic to finish us off. Lantern here can easily survive on Dynamic once again. This is the third that this Pokemon is gonna throw, and down they go to my Sparks. So Lantern now has a ton of energy to throw, but at the same time I'm expecting the Ferrothorn to return. However, they end up coming into the game with Quagsire, which is a heavy core breaker as well for this team. I'm not seeing a lot of Mad Boys on my yellow. I'm around Veteran at this point, and Steelix can still emerge here like a solid Pokemon for their team. team, even though those mud bombs are gonna hurt a ton. So I'm gonna get here on the Psychic Fangs, and I know that I have to block the following up move. Mud bomb has to be blocked, otherwise we're gonna go down. And here is now the moment of truth. Are they gonna take the move? No, they are not. Gonna debuff themselves, and now gonna clear the debuff by switching out on Ferrothorn. So this is the perfect opportunity for us to get on the crunch since they are unshielded, and to be fair, I was expecting for more damage. Perhaps Shadow Steelix can be a better option, but the regular one can survive a couple of power whips much better. Anyways, over here they still have more energy, so they absolutely destroyed us down with a couple of core breakers for our team, both Quagsire and Ferrothorn. Into the next game now with another Jellicent up in front. Let's see how this is gonna go, because Lantern is definitely gonna have a rough time over anything else other than this Jellicent, so we're pretty glad to have this Pokemon up against us. So I've decided to go for a lot of energy stored up, and at this point I'm just gonna throw the Thunderbolt while they're getting now to another charge attack. So we have to block, okay? This is not an arguable moment or anything. We have to throw, and over here we miss the timing for some weird reason. Game, thank you very much, and now we're obliged in using our shield. I don't know why this happened. I should have been able to throw my move before the third hex was registered, but it is what it is. And over here now we got even more pressure for the next Pokemon, which is their own Lantern, and I'm pretty glad that we can do that because we are shieldless against a shielded Lantern. So we're gonna put it extremely low, and this means now that Steelix can easily farm down by surviving the surge. This is how bulky Steelix can be for the meta, able to withstand the hits, and at the very end lies a Magcargo, which is absolutely awesome for our Poliwrath. Into the next game now with a Lucario up in front. This Pokemon is always bad news for a lot of teams because of its crazy energy gain and the amount of pressure that it can apply with Force Palm. So here comes now my Lantern to the rescue though with those serfs and able to survive the moves, and I'm just gonna switch out on my Poliwrath to see what they have at the back. They reply with a Jellicent, which is not great, but still we can somehow debuff it all the way down with our Icy Winds. At this point I'm pretty sure that one Shadow Ball can almost take us out, and I say almost because we survive with 1 HP, which is the dream scenario here, and debuff them even further. I'm just gonna wait a little bit here, and I'm gonna come into the battle with my Lantern, and knowing here that perhaps they're gonna throw something like a Surf, I'm just gonna let the move go through. So here comes now a Surf of my own as they're getting extremely low, and I have already farmed up a little bit extra. Lucario returns. I was hoping to get to another Surf. This is not the case at all, but Mantine lies at the very end, and this is absolutely awesome because we can survive the moves with this even though we do not need those shields. So you can see here that Thunderfang is absolutely on point, able to destroy down that Mantine, and they have Bubble Beam, so yeah, there goes that. Who cares about that move? Gonna flex my 2 shields till the end. Lucario goes down. Let's get it with Thunderfang Steelix, excuse me. Another Jellicent up in front, followed up by a Steelix, a Registeel on the switch. I'm definitely calling all of those names wrong today, so I'm just gonna block the move because this can easily be a Zap Cannon and not a Flash Cannon like before. Are you kidding me for that? Dynamic Punch is gonna get now to the knockout, and this is looking pretty solid because yeah, Poliwrath is gonna be sacrificed against Jellicent. This is the only matchup that I am afraid of with my Poliwrath. Against anything else you always have something to throw, but against Jellicent not so much. Everything is resisted. They can get out of here with a ton of energy stored up, but hopefully we have double electric waiting for that Pokemon. So at this point I want to return into the battle with my Lantern, and we can bait out a Lucario. This is still still just fine, because now we can protect our Steelix from that fighter, and of course in the process we can have those Thunderfangs over Jellicent. So Surf here is gonna try to take out the second shield, and now I know that I have to switch out on my Steelix. This has to be a Thunder Punch, right? And look at that, it is a Power Punch. Oh my freaking goodness. So at this point I'm just gonna get as soon as I can to that Psychic Fangs. Down they go, and now it all depends on if Jellicent has quite what it takes to finish us down. Surf is definitely gonna destroy us, but they decide to go for the undercharge because they want to farm some extra. That is a mistake. Steelix for the win, and that is gonna be another close one. Into the final one now, trainers, with a Shadow Poliwrath up in front. You already know that this Pokemon can be a troublemaker, however this one has the move Power Punch, so it is kind of a game changer. As long as they block, we should be fine, but I guess that all of those Power Punches are still gonna be kinda troublesome for my Lantern, and they can win pretty much straight away. So before we go down, we get the chance to unleash the power of one last serve. Thank goodness we have some solid IVs, and we get both of them shields out of play pretty early on this final one. So Shadow Poliwrath against Shadow Poliwrath, able to finish them off, but they still did about half of total damage on my Poly, and right now they have a Carbink waiting at the very end. This is a Pokemon that I haven't seen yet in the meta of Fossil Cup, and I'm pretty surprised to see it in action over here. So I guess that Carbink can still find some usage against certain Pokemon like Golisopod, for example, against Magcargo, or perhaps even against a fighter with its Moonblast. But it is what it is, and we can easily survive all of those moves by resisting them a lot with our Steelix, so we can definitely take advantage of that. Able to apply even more debuffs on their end, get here on the switch out, and our Poliwrath to destroy them down with our Icy Winds. Look at how easy it is for Poliwrath to get there, and they cannot farm down, they need to spend some energy in the process, otherwise they're getting destroyed down by our Icy Winds. So I guess that I have to let my Poliwrath go down. We still have 2 shields waiting while they have 0, and those Thunderfangs are absolutely awesome. I'm not gonna throw any charge attack here, just gonna get straight on the farm down, and that will conclude today's content with an amazing victory and a pretty fun aspect of Fossil Cup. Thank you for watching, trainers, and for staying around till the end. It really means a lot for my channel. Before you go though, leave a huge like, subscribe to my content, and I hope to see you all into the next one. It is not gonna be Fossil Cup.